Over in the pages of Marvel Comics, the publisher is looking to debut a brand new detective themed Avengers mystery called Avengers Inc. This launch is really exciting for me personally because Wasp writer Al Ewing is returning over to Janet Van Dyne. Plus, we have a character who looks like the Vision but is seemingly his own person over with Victor Shade. My name is Arako Braddock, and today let's go ahead and see if we can unravel some of the mysteries behind Victor Shade and the Wasp over in Avengers Inc. issue 1. Before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button over on our video. Action, mystery, adventure. Her name is Janet Van Dyne. She's a hero, she's a celebrity, she's hunting a killer. His name is Victor Shade. He's a villain. He's an enigma. He just got killed. And together they're out to solve every mystery in the Marvel Universe, starting with their own. Al Ewing and Leonard Kirk bring you a whole new style of avenging from a whole new style of Avengers. Avengers Inc. issue 1 is written by Al Ewing, featuring art by Leonard Kirk. We have colors from Alex Sinclair and letters from VC's Cory Petit. In addition, we also have a cover coming in over from Daniel Acuna. Really think that Daniel Acuna does a fantastic job striking the really complicated tone that Al Ewing writes over in Avengers Inc. that artist Leonard Kirk also captures really well over on the page, particularly like this outline over from Vision and some of the negative space introduced in the white parts over on the cover here. And I want to extend a quick thank you over to Adventures in Poor Taste. And let's go ahead and focus in on some of what Leonard Kirk brings over to this comic book. Really like how Leonard Kirk captures some of the intrigue over in a lot of these scenarios. I particularly found that face that Quicksand is levying towards some of these characters over from the raft to be harrowing when I checked through this preview over in the issue. I did want to be a little bit honest and say that with some of the finishes of the art team coming from the colors from Alex Sinclair, I found derailed a little bit of the art in this book. It feels like this issue is a lot darker than it should be, coming from some of the muted colors across this series. And while I do think the focal point, the central mystery of the series about the 6 villains dying in 6 separate cell rooms is incredibly compelling here, it almost felt like some of the artwork, especially with the colors, didn't quite match that sort of phone tone that Al Ewing was looking to evoke over in these scripting sequences. I also like how Al Ewing continues to explore some of the political machinations behind this Avengers team, with Janet speaking directly to Luke Cage over in the issue. Artist Leonard Kirk does a fantastic job capturing the dark expressions from some of these characters across the series. I think this look at the cold and despondent Victor Shade recontextualized from this whirlwind character is a really beautiful page that emphasizes Shade's role in this book perfectly here. It's really interesting to see how quickly Shade and Janet Van Dyne form a relationship over as this series goes. And I was honestly a little bit struck by how quickly some of the status quos over for the series set in. I almost did feel at times throughout this story that Al Ewing was reaching for the premise a little bit. That being said, I do think some of the mysteries set up in this issue are incredibly compelling, and it seems like there's some larger hand in the Marvel Universe guiding these specific characters over to these locations. Another aspect that really helped me get immersed into this series were some of the post-credit sequences in the issue. I really like some of the material that Al Ewing took on in some of these pages, and think that the Wasp and Ant-Man series both should really serve as a strong foundation for this Avengers Inc. title. I almost like how they sort of serve as prequels to the wider narrative here. I did find the status quo over with Avengers Inc. forming at the very end of the issue was also a little bit rushed here, and think that this script would have been a lot better if it was written a little bit more carefully across a couple more scenes here. I'm incredibly interested to see Victor Shade and Janet Van Dyne work together to take on some of the mysteries surrounding the Marvel Universe, but think they definitely have to uncover the mysterious origins behind the return of Victor Shade first. That being said, though, I would have appreciated if there was a little bit more concrete answers pertaining to Shade as an individual. I feel like in this particular comic book, we don't get a lot of exploration of his character. By the time he's introduced and folded into the story, the issue ends here. I really do think that Leonard Kirk is a kinetic artist that captured a lot of the emotion and expressions in these fight sequences really, really well in the issue. And I'm hoping that in future installments of Avengers Inc., Alex Sinclair does a much stronger job featuring a wider array of colors across this comic book issue. I think in some of the final pages here, when some of the lighting really kind of steps up over in the Jarvis Tower, it was quite thrilling seeing Janet and Victor alongside Luke in some of these sequences too. So at the end of the day, I find myself a little bit disappointingly mixed on this Avengers Inc. debut coming in from Marvel Comics. Would love to see Al Ewing really explore this dynamic between Janet and Victor in the context of a larger issue. I think Al Ewing and some of the creative team were just rushing to get to the final elements of this status quo without writing some of the more subtle and nuanced elements of the series. That being said, though, I really like how Al Ewing writes some of his mysteries, and I'm intrigued to see how these kind of 6 characters locked up in 6 cells over in the raft in the Marvel Universe plays out here. Also interested to see if any other Avengers mysteries that have been going for a long time can be solved over in some of these comic book pages. As one final aside here, I think some of the themes in the issue are also a little bit interesting here. Very early on in the comic book, we see this kind of reference to the Avengers avenging someone and these particular individuals trying to figure out what that mission statement really stands for. I think Leonard Kirk is also a really subtle artist that captures expressions from some of these characters so incredibly well, and I'm really excited to see what he brings to future issues. There is so much ambition in the premise behind Avengers Inc., and even though I don't think it was captured in this first issue, I really do think this creative team has it in them to deliver something really stellar in the near future. I want to know from you, what were some of your thoughts on this Avengers Inc. debut? Did you think it was better than I did? Let me know over in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming to check out our review over for Avengers Inc. And we'll be back to see what's next over for Victor Shade and Janet Van Dyne in the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.